Welcome to Pop Culture Retro, which was recently voted the 15th best podcast by the residents of the Golden Years Retirement Community in Boca Raton, Florida. Each show, we'll revisit some of your favorite pop culture memories with insider and outsider perspectives. Now, please help me welcome your hosts, Ike Eisenmann and Jonathan Rosen.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Pop Culture Retro. Today we're deviating a little bit. We're thrilled to welcome the writer and performers from the new film Pumpkin Spiced Musical, out now on Amazon Prime. Please help us welcome Ben Steifel, Erin Herrick, Lexi Marceron, and James Parks. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Well, but this is the first time I think we get multiple in one recording.
Yeah, exactly. We got a whole group. This is awesome.
We're going to go around to everyone, but we're going to start with Ben, who I never met before today, but we have a mutual friend, Barbara, who I absolutely love. I wanted to find out, first of all, how long have you been friends with Barbara and how did you meet?
Okay, I've been friends with Barbara for, I'm going to say, somewhere 30, 35 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I was a music teacher in the New York public schools, and Barbara was a teacher in one of the schools that I worked in for a long, long time. And I'm imagining she is thrilled hearing her name right this moment. So Barbara McDonald, big shout out. And she has a little photo cameo in the movie, in the very opening. Her picture is in the opening.
So this is all about the Pumpkin Spiced Musical. So can you tell us what it's about, where the idea came from, and how it developed?
Okay, well, it's a spoof. It's a spoof on the pumpkin spice craze, which started with Starbucks about 20 years ago when they put out pumpkin spice lattes. And every year I would buy a pumpkin spice latte because I love Starbucks and their advertising makes it look and sound so good. And I swear to God, every time I would buy one and take my first sip, I would be, this is not as good as advertised. Just a personal opinion, no offense to Starbucks, I still love Starbucks. And then as the years went on, we saw pumpkin spice breakfast cereals and pumpkin spice candles and air fresheners. And I just thought, it's getting really ridiculous. Somebody needs to do a musical comedy, a spoof about it. And these awesome actors helped me put it together.
How much of you is in Sam? I have to ask.
Well, I think my wife would say that I am very much like Sam. And let me just let her take a quick peek because she's sort of my co-producer.
Hello.
My co-director. This is Liz. This is Elizabeth. And she, I
concur with you. You are very much like Sam.
and consequently, she is very much like Ella. So the two older folks amongst this whole group here, Sam and Ella. That's us.
Well, that leads to the next question I was going to ask. Now, you created this together, the two of you?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh. Okay. I created it, but I bounce all my ideas, all my concepts, all my ideas off my wife. And then when I'm writing scripts and stuff, she's also has a lot of input. So there are a lot of lines of dialogue and stuff and actions in the songs and in the script, in the screenplay that come from Liz. But I'm the genius behind it.
Much like that. Yeah.
So it's fun working together?
Sometimes.
Now, you have a Brooklyn College background, as do I, but yours was in music. So you said you've been teaching for around 30 years? Music?
Yes. Yeah, I've been teaching for around 30 years. I'm retired now. Teaching music. I taught music in the elementary age kids.
Mm-hmm. And so you write original musical material for the New York school system?
Well, when I was teaching, I would write plays. I would write plays for the kids to perform. And so musically, it wouldn't particularly sound like children's music. I mean, a lot of the music I wrote was very similar, was just like very Broadway sounding.
Mhm.
But they were 10 years old, 9 years old, 11 years old. And, but yeah, I've been writing musicals for a long, long time. But when I retired, I decided to myself, I want to write for adults because I had not done that, never did that. And I started writing musical comedies like Leonard Bernstein and like Stephen Schwartz. I want to give a shout out to my peers. Yes, they'd all agree my music is.
Yeah, they probably need the plugs. You're right. Yes.
Yes, I started writing for adults, and this Pumpkin Spice musical was the third play that I had written in the last, say, 10 years or so for adults, and we did it live. James right here was part of the live performance of Pumpkin Spice musical. Anyway, and the audiences loved it, and that kind of pushed me in my head to think, let me try to make a movie out of this, something that can kind of live on.
Where did you start performing this? Where was this done originally?
Well, I've been before COVID, before the pandemic. I was playing piano. I was playing keyboard in a steakhouse in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn. Anybody's watching from Hunter's Steak and Ale, their steaks are awesome. But anyway. So they would let me use the back room. I would play there every week, but they would let me use the back room to do performances for friends and family. So that's where we staged it, and that's where I staged all my musicals.
What's it like directing for film as opposed to doing it on like a stage production?
Wow. You know what? I didn't find it that different, because I'm just being honest. I let the actors take the script and do what they do best. I mean, they're brilliant, these three. And you guys want to mention our number 4 actor? Oh, there she is.
We also have Danny Honeyman, who isn't here with us today, but here's Sean, the actors. She was Jackie Z in our
So I thank you. We love Danny. But so I found that the actors can take my script or screenplay and they could bring so much to it, because I'm not an actor. I'm whatever the opposite of an actor is, that's me. I don't, but they bring so much to what I've given them or what I do give them that I just mostly let them run with it. Would you guys agree?
Yeah. More difficult with the filming. Like we rehearsed some stuff, and then once we got cameras in here, it changed a little bit. It just we didn't get them quite everything in the right shot. So there's a lot of little like small adjustments that we did, but nothing too crazy. Yeah, it was interesting. Adding the cameras made definitely a change.
Oh, I don't doubt it. It always does. So you mentioned rehearsing. So how long did you rehearse before you started filming?
You guys remember?
3 weeks in total.
3 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
3 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. It was a very expedited process.
Yes.
What's the process like to get something placed on Amazon Prime, to get a film placed on there?
Well, it's difficult because I was not able to get Pumpkin Spice Musical on Amazon Prime. I did get it on Tubi and on YouTube and Zumo, and there are a couple of other streaming channels. I'm using a company called Film Hub that basically places the movie on these streaming channels, and also on YouTube. I don't know if I mentioned that, but it's going to be also on YouTube. And I'm just looking forward to the big premiere.
So I want to move on now to Erin, who plays Allie.
Sure.
How did you come to be part of Pumpkin Spice Musical?
Well, As an actor, you know, you put yourself out on a bunch of different casting websites and such. And Ben actually reached out to me directly after viewing some material that I had up on my profile. And he reached out to me a few days before my birthday, I might add, during for an acting job. So I was elated and pretty much said, a movie musical, yeah, like count me in. So, yeah, it was a quick process, but I'm very grateful that, yeah, Ben found me.
How would you describe Allie, and what did you like best about playing her?
Oh my gosh, I love her sense of optimism. I am not as optimistic of a person, so able to just take any awful situation and find the glimmer of hope in it, you know, the silver lining. I think that was what made it so much fun, because even in the darkest moments, she really finds the levity, the light in everything. So yeah, she was a joy to play.
Well, you just mentioned a difference. What are there any similarities between you and your character?
Ooh, good question. Yeah, I would say that she's very determined in her career, and as am I. And she takes this job at this advertising agency to really try to make something of herself and to work her way up. And I definitely see a lot of myself in that. So, yeah.
Well, you come from Seattle originally. When did you first start taking an interest in acting?
Yes, I am from Seattle. Actually, my first job ever was at a Starbucks in Seattle. So I am very familiar with coffee culture and the pumpkin spice craze. It was certainly all over the Pacific Northwest first. So yeah.
So you've been wanting to act since you were a kid?
Yeah, I mean, I blame my mother. She exposed me to a lot of theater and concerts when I was growing up, and I just fell in love with it. So yeah, I did like, you know, a summer theater camp and a youth chorus when I was growing up. And, yeah, did all of the things.
And when did you move to New York?
I moved to New York a couple years after graduating college. So I went to University of Washington and double majored in music and theater. And built up a little bit of money to get myself here, and then the rest is history. I've been here ever since. So.
And you were in the actor therapy production of Spring Awakening. So what was that experience like, coming from Seattle to then appearing like on a cabaret stage in New York?
Sure. I mean, it was wild. Honestly, I hadn't done a lot of cabaret stuff. I'd really done only theater stuff, and so it was definitely a change, but it was lovely. I mean, I just being around other theater people, you feel at home no matter what. So yeah.
Okay, well, putting you on the spot, because on your resume it says that you're proficient in accents, including Cockney. Have to hear that.
Oh, well, it just comes naturally.
Well, it also says you like developing new recipes, which I find fascinating because it's hard enough for me to follow one. Any you care to share?
Sure. I mean, last night actually, I made a cocktail that was I call it like a bourbon smash. You like smash a peach up, and then you add some bourbon and some honey and a little bit of ginger beer and shake it up in a cocktail shaker. It's excellent.
God, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
And what were your favorite parts about filming Pumpkin Spice Musical?
Gosh, I think honestly, I would have to say just working on a new piece of material is so gratifying, because you have a blank canvas. You don't have any expectation of what this role is supposed to be, and you really are able to just go crazy with your creativity and really put yourself into a role. So I think just being part of a new work was the best part for me.
Thanks. I want to move on to Lexi, who plays Ella. So now, how did you come to be part of Pumpkin Spice Musical?
The same way as Erin. In the middle of a pandemic, on backstage.com, he watched my reel, he sent me a message, and the rest is history. We actually had a mutual connection. My friend Sarah had initially auditioned for the project, and then she ended up having to move out of the city. So yeah, it was just meant to be. It was really a neat way to be able to meet each other.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, and how would you describe Ella, and what would you like best about playing her?
Well, Ella is very much not like me. I'm very optimistic, much more like Allie's character. But yeah, I think Ella is very well, first of all, she's about 30 years older than me. So she's quite negative. She's a realist. She is really the anchor that kind of keeps Sam grounded. Yeah, and I think in terms of similarities, we have none, but it was really fun. I don't know, challenge myself theatrically with this role.
Well, you originally came from Maine and started the Next Generation Theater. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was 16 years old, I was a junior in high school. I noticed in my hometown that there was really a lack for arts, and I asked my mom if we could open a children's theater, and she bought a 150-year-old building, and we renovated it with our entire life savings. And
oh my gosh!
And
wow.
Yeah, 16 years later, they're thriving. We've had over 5,000 students be able to participate.
Amazing.
In productions there. But really, it was we really wanted to give back to the community, especially the lower income, students and young people in the community, because there was really a need for arts education for all different demographics, but especially people of lower incomes. So yeah,
That's great. It's really nice. Yeah.
Thank
Now I do have to ask you about something, because you appeared in a show I love. As a cameo, you said comedians in cars getting coffee. Which episode? So we could go look for that later. So.
Yeah, okay. That was the first season. I think it was actually like the third episode of the first season. So a real long time ago. But yeah, that was
Who was in it? Which person was in that one?
It was a French comedian, and I'm not going to say his name. I'm gonna butcher it. But yeah, he was fun. It was really fun too. So, but that
was a great experience.
It was a great experience, yeah.
Now, I according to your resume, there are a couple of standout talents, and I won't ask you to burp on command unless you want to, but I have to hear the Carol Channing impression.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name's Carol Channing. Everything today is thoroughly modern.
Very good.
I would have worked that into the movie if I knew she
Yeah, it seems like there would be a place for it, especially in this one. So what were some of your favorite parts about filming Pumpkin Spice Musical?
Well, the sequel for sure.
When Ella is about 90 years old.
Yeah.
So what were some of your favorite parts about filming the musical?
Oh, it was really fun, getting to know my castmates, because it was such a quick process, rehearsing and then of course filming. We filmed over the course of 3 days. Yeah, we became fast friends, and it was cool getting into character. Like I had said, it was a kind of character I've never played before. So just kind of exploring that physicality and vocal qualities of Ella. Yeah, I think the whole process is really enjoyable, but those are some things that stand out to me.
Good. So now I want to hit James now, since you played Sam, and so you were in the earlier versions of this. So how did you come to be part of this?
Yeah, so similarly, Ben was, going through backstage looking for people to be in the project, and he found me, reached out, sent me the material, and it was really, really fun. Then the show was a little bit different, had a little bit different of a setup, a different cast, but since then, I've just been with the project through the reading and through the performance at Hunters and the recording of the cast album, and now the movies. So it's been a great ride.
Well, yeah. What now? Your turn with this. What are the similarities between you and him?
Sure. So Sam is, he's a little behind the times. The world has modernized and progressed more than he has. So he still believes in, sort of the sex cells and the chauvinistic look at the world. Ella has her place and Sam has his place, and ne'er two shall they meet. But luckily for him, Ella doesn't allow that to happen. I think he's very confident in himself and his ideas. And while I'm not necessarily as confident, I can certainly get carried away like he can and believe that something should work, even when everyone around him is telling him it won't work. And then well, they do work, and it's wonderful. So Sam was great to play. It was a lot of fun. We don't have that many similarities, but it was good to explore that headspace.
Now, you're originally from Maryland. You went to the Peabody Institute at Johns Hopkins. So I read that you founded the improv group, which aimed to help instrumental musicians overcome stage fright. Can you tell us about that, how that developed?
Yes. So when I was in middle school, I was in a program called Improve Through Improv, which was for lower kids to kind of help with their emotions through improvisation. And then I was in a youth acting troupe that we did monthly improv shows, sort of like SNL, but for teenagers. And then when I got to Peabody, where I was studying opera, I noticed there were a lot of instrumentalists who really, they were amazing instrumentalists, amazing musical talent and everything, but the emoting wasn't necessarily there. And so when I approached student life and said, look, I think if we have an improv class where we basically allow these people to explore a completely different way to express themselves and a completely open way to express themselves, that will let them tap into something else when they're playing the violin or when they're playing the piano, when they're playing the cello. And there was definitely some skepticism because Peabody was a very traditional place. There was sort of like, I don't know that we need that, or I don't know that anybody's going to sign up. And then it kind of blew up and it became a really, really huge thing and a really great thing. Yeah, it was an amazing experience and amazing process. And that was that.
And one of your credits lists Love Actually, the musical parody. I love that movie, so I want to hear about that. What's that one about?
Yes. So
we could, Lexi and I can tell you, I don't know if you saw him in the show.
I did not.
But we saw James in the show.
He was brilliant.
He was brilliant.
Yeah, very kind, very kind. So, Love Actually is a parody by Bob and Tobley McSmith. They write these unauthorized parodies. They've done one for Friends. They've done one for The Office. They're working on one for Parks and Rec. Anyway, they're great. They're hilarious. This really does take Love Actually and just spoof on the absurdity of the show, plots, and the absurdity of the time period, and so I played Colin Firth and then a bunch of other parts. Probably my favorite part was I had to do a song as Joni Mitchell, fully in drag, beautiful, wonderful. Love you, Joni. Thank you for allowing me to share the stage as an impersonator. But it was I've done it twice now. It's a great project. Hopefully it comes back again this holiday season.
Oh, I'm going to have to see that.
Yeah, that really sounds amazing. So also on your resume, your talents include accents as well. Which are you proficient in?
Oh, I make them all up. No, we do, some of the Middle Eastern, some of the Russian. Nowadays, it's not always so PC, some of the accents that I used to do. Any that you want to hear. Give me, throw one out.
Let's hear the Russian since it's all in the news.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Russian. Well, if you come to Russia and you want to see what they're doing, we will take you and we will interrogate you and we will see what you do.
So what are your favorite parts in Pumpkin Spice Musical about filming it?
Oh, I think one of the best things about Pumpkin Spice, and probably part of why I've stayed with the project so long, is Ben and Liz just love this project and give over entirely to this project. And that includes letting us make suggestions, letting us, kind of live in the space. They transform their house into the set. And I know when Ben was like, no, we're going to film it completely in my house, I was like, really? Totally worked. It totally, and they just, they move all their furniture, they take all their art off, well, they let they just invest themselves.
And my
fully
wife had
into
the
it.
same reaction when I told her we're filming.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It saves on the budget. Yes.
It's just so wonderful to work on a project that's so loved and so embraced in every facet. People have a tendency when they're working on their own projects to micromanage. And while Ben micromanages certain aspects of it, the actual creativity of it, he gives us complete freedom, which is just such a joy and such a special project.
Yeah,
to have
definitely.
fun.
How long did the whole thing take to film? How long?
We did it in 3 days and 1 day of
Wow.
post-production.
Wow. No, I heard her mention 3 days. I thought that's very quick. Yeah, good job.
I will say that it was not 3 days because all the footage from day one, not one bit of it, I didn't use one bit of it, nothing. For two reasons, I'll just say them really quick. One is we were doing these with these lav mics, the hidden lavalier mics. His mic had a buzz, had an electronic hum the whole day of filming. And number two, there was a window that was pouring in light. So anybody near this window looked like they fell from the heavens. And the person that I counted on to be aware of these things, the person who was our cinematographer, quotations, whatever, didn't tell me any of this. So it only happened when I looked back and listened back that night. I listened to some of it and looked at it and I was like, oh my God. So we literally filmed this in 2 days.
That was, yeah.
Oh God, that's always those technical problems are always nightmares, and yeah, if you're not aware of them up front, it's a complete waste of a day. That's tough.
Well, now I was told that there would be a number performed from the musical.
Yes, we have a song. It's the first song in the show. It's called "It's Time for Sam and Ella's Ad Agency to Be Reborn." That was good for you. So we'll
Love to hear it.
We'll get
Absolutely.
And you have this.
Love it.
Make sure she's set up.
See, you're in good company because John Davidson performed for us when we had him on the show as well. So there you go.
I watched that. I watched the whole episode with John Davidson, and the man loves to sing. I will say that.
Yeah, he did.
He was
Definitely.
great. He was great.
Yeah.
But I was telling these youngsters when we were young, John Davidson, he's still a huge star, but he was the biggest thing ever when we were young.
Oh, yeah.
30-year-old plus might not know the name John Davidson. On that happy note, are you ready?
Ready.
Ready. Here we go.
Ready.
All right, here we go.
I know that look. You got something brewing.
I got something brewing, all right. It's called doing the hard work, old school style, like we used to. Remember in the old days,
I remember them well.
we made money dusk till dawn.
We sure did.
Well, we did it then,
It was a simpler
and
time.
we can do it again.
I'm not so sure.
'Cause it's time for Sam and Ella's ad agency to be reborn.
So, what do you have in mind? Come on, spill it.
I'm not sure yet. Let's see, the holidays. The holidays. That's the key. Remember last Thanksgiving?
Oh, don't remind
We
me.
sold tons of this vile candy corn.
Oh, I love this stuff.
We made money before.
Sure did.
And now we're gonna make even
Not
more.
so sure.
'Cause it's time for Sam and Ella's ad agency to be reborn.
It sounds wonderful, but how do we begin?
I'm working on it.
To dig ourselves out of this pile of debt we find ourselves in. Maybe we should close up shop, cut our losses. Would that be such a sin?
Close up shop. Cut our losses, ridiculous.
Wait, I've got it. This is gonna be big. Bigger than big. Kid, you're a genius.
Can't you see it's time?
Yes, it's the perfect time. Now's the time for Sam and Bella's ad agency. To be reborn. Reborn. To be reborn.
All right. Very good. Oh my gosh. I would be terrified to jump up and do that at any given moment. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Now, any behind the scenes anecdotes we could share? We could even say of Danny since she's not here. No.
Danny, I will just say about Danny, when you watch the movie, she is hysterical. She's the comic relief in the show.
Quite
but
literally.
Yes. There's a picture again. She plays a former child star who has fallen on hard times. So when we all meet her in the story, well, you'll see what she's doing, what her job is currently. And then she's got a chance to film a commercial and become a star again. But I will just say, she is so funny.
She's hilarious, incredibly
awesome.
talented. Yeah. Great physical comedian, I'll say. Yeah.
All right, now for the most appropriate question of the day. Do any of you actually like pumpkin spice?
Yes, I love it.
I like it.
It's all right.
I've already about it.
No, I want to ask what each of you has lined up next, if we can go around.
So,
Start.
I have an acting hiatus right now because I'm back in school full time. So my semester resumes in 3 weeks, and I'm currently studying drama therapy at the New School University in New York. So that's what's on my roster for the next year.
Amazing.
Thank you.
I just started rehearsals for a production of Hunchback Notre Dame, a new version, more true to the book, very unhappy ending, like the book. September and October in the city.
Where will it be?
It's going to be at Urban Stages on 30th Street in the city.
Cool.
Gotta remember to get your plugs in. Yes.
For me, I'm going back to Seattle in a week actually to do a callback for a show, so I can't really talk about, if it's going to happen or not, but hopefully it does, and if it does, that means 3 months of acting work, so that'd be awesome.
Fingers crossed. Okay.
What's next for me? Well, I got a call the other day from a friend, an artist, a writer. The Bahamas, they're celebrating their 50th anniversary next summer, and we're being asked to write a children's musical and to go out to the Bahamas and work with children and perform it for Prince Charles. And I kid you not. So
Wow.
That's major.
Yeah, it kind of blows my mind too. But so fingers crossed that all comes through, but it's looking very
Fantastic. That's good. Now, let's go around again. How can people follow you on social media, each one of you?
You can find me on Instagram. It's at Little Lexi Bug. If you try to find me under Lexi Marceron, it's a little bit difficult because I've gotten married since we filmed the movie. So I'm now Eskies, but you can still find backstage.com if you're looking for me under Lexi Marceron.
Okay.
On all the socials, I'm the James Parks. Very simple.
I think mine is at Erin.Herrick, except I think Twitter it's a random one. It's Embrace the Cheese. So
Is there any story behind that?
it's not really a story so much as a point of view, just that I think, life is hard enough, so why not embrace, the good stuff, the fun. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. That's great.
Thank you.
Oh, should I? Okay, well, you can find me at, no one will believe this, Pumpkin Spiced Musical.
Whoa, mind blowing.
Well, we want to thank you all for coming today, to joining us, and we're looking forward for everyone to go watch Pumpkin Spice Musical. So again, this has been Pop Culture Retro, and again, we want to thank Ben Steifel, Erin Herrick, Lexi Marceron, and James Parks. And remember, go out and watch, and please subscribe.
Thank you for listening to Pop Culture Retro, where no one was hurt during the making of this podcast.